Baruch Hashem, you're a bad Jew.
Shalom.
What a wonderful world. Oh, hey, didn't see you there.
Oh, hey, wow. Welcome back to another episode of Bad Jew, where you just might get serenaded by our guest, Daniel. What a wonderful world. It's so great to have you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, it's an amazing day. It's
Absolutely.
always a beautiful world. Yep.
Love to hear that. Well, you're great with positive energy, and we want to learn where that positive energy comes from. As you know, with this podcast, there is a rite of entry onto the show where you have to tell your life story in 4 minutes in our Bad Jew challenge. Are you ready?
Let's go.
4 minutes. Here we go. Echad, shtayim, shalosh, yalla. 4 minutes. Go for it.
Okay, life story. Well, shalom, hola, bonjour, arigato. Wow. Life story. Well, I'm from Miami, Florida. I grew up here. I was born in Cape Canaveral, Florida. My mom had a view of the space station when I was being born. My mother is from South Florida and grew up in the Bahamas. And she's half Japanese and half Irish American. She's American. My father is Danish. His father is Moroccan and his mother is Polish. And they met in Dallas, Texas at flight school. And yeah, that's not where I was conceived. I was conceived in Puerto Rico. They lived in Puerto Rico for 7 years and then decided to move to Florida, where I was raised. I would say I had a normal childhood. I was involved in lots of sports, playing sports growing up and playing music growing up. Part of an orchestra for 7 years, playing viola. I was playing basketball in summer leagues, and I played water polo and swimming for about 7 years also through middle school and high school. And I decided to get my private pilot license, and then I got my boat captain license, 100-ton certified, and I have been recording music for the past about 5-6 years now, and I've been working on different music videos and whatnot since then. A few years ago, like 3 years ago, I decided to convert to Judaism because my father's Jewish and my mom's not, and I was just so amazed at the philosophies, ideals, and the amazing traditions of Judaism that I wanted to learn more about it. And I found some incredible answers. And it's been amazing since. I've met some amazing friends along the way. And that is what brought me to meeting you over at Lit. And that was a cool experience. So yeah, now I'm here. And along the way, I had a couple of serious girlfriends, and I broke up with them, and that led to depression, and that's probably what helped fuel my motivation to learning Judaism and learning about like the family values and whatnot, because at some points in my life, I didn't have the best direction or goals. And I was able to create new goals and have different life directions and have like different family values that I want to incorporate into my own family when I get to start my own family, for example. Yeah. So there's been lots of ups and downs. Now I'm here.
Awesome. Daniel,
Yep.
you nailed that challenge, and I appreciate you being vulnerable on the show. I also appreciate the fact that, you've literally been on every single vehicle possible is what it sounds like, and you've gotten your license for it. And when it came to getting to new heights on the planes, you also got into new heights in your Jewish studies as well. So good luck vote to you and all these amazing things. Also, one thing that Daniel's being humble about, for those who want to learn about him more contextually, I mean, he's a rapper. He does a lot of music, as you could tell when he serenaded us in the intro of this episode. And he also did a collaboration with the very first guest of our podcast, Kosha Dillz, who we got to have back on the show very soon. So Kosha Dillz, if you're listening, we'd love to have you back on the podcast. Daniel, your
Big ups to Kosha Dillz.
Yeah. So Daniel, you went to Yeshiva. You converted to Judaism, which I actually didn't even know until now.
Yeah.
And so this episode is kind of about that Yeshiva process, because I think Yeshiva, can tend to have a lot of stigma behind it, depending on where you are in your life and how, like if you're looking at it from the inside or the outside, whatever it is, right? Here's what I want to know, right? We know
Right, right.
Yeshiva teaches you. Yeshiva teaches you Judaism. What does Yeshiva not teach you?
Wow. Yeah. Yeshiva, I mean, like right off the bat, Yeshiva is a different world. Like as soon as you step foot into Yeshiva and decide to commit to that, it's a different world. I mean, it's like living in a bubble where everyone has a specific set of values. Like there's no guessing what goes on because there's a way for everything. Like you don't even have to really think too outside the box once you're inside. But what I'm saying is what Yeshiva doesn't teach you, there's so much that Yeshiva does teach you, right? I mean, you learn how to be a good Jew in Yeshiva, I would say. You learn how to be a good Jew in Yeshiva. And outside of Yeshiva, what you would have to learn on your own outside of Yeshiva is different things like how to make money. You're not going to learn how to make money in Yeshiva unless you're a struggling student in Yeshiva who has to make money and hustle outside of Yeshiva. That's what I was doing. I was throwing some parties, for example, in Jerusalem at Beer Bazaar, and I was trying to hustle and make some money. And that's something you have to learn on your own outside of Yeshiva. You have to learn how to make money and pay your bills outside of Yeshiva. That's an actual fact.
So in Yeshiva, you're saying that you were trying to stay in longer, and so you had to raise money to stay in longer. And the way that you raised the funds to stay in Yeshiva longer was by throwing parties that you would charge at the door for.
Yeah, that's part of it. I was learning how to, well, not learning. I was having parties to make money so that I could actually stay in Yeshiva longer. That was my actual goal. So I could have an income while going to Yeshiva and not have to worry about money so much. Because there's amazing things like Miser where you can go and pay the money back later, like at any point in life. But I'm a guy who doesn't like to accumulate debt.
Of course, that makes sense. Who does? No, but that's interesting though. How long did you actually get to stay in Yeshiva for?
I was able to be in Yeshiva for 1 year. It was an amazing experience. I highly recommend any Jew go to Yeshiva, And an amazing fact about Aish is that Rav Noah Weinberg, who started Aish, he actually used to allow anyone, regardless of religion or race, to study in the base midrash and learn from any of the books, ask any of the rabbis, teachers. The learning used to literally be open for everyone. And that doesn't happen so much anymore since Rav Noah Weinberg passed. But that was a thing, that was a tradition that Aish was known for allowing anyone into the base midrash to study, to learn Judaism, regardless of religion.
Why do you think Reb Noah Weinberg cared so much about just getting anyone and everyone? Isn't there a certain value to quality over quantity, so to speak?
Yeah, I definitely agree, quality over quantity. And it was more so the people who want to. He wasn't going outside proselytizing, trying to convince people on the street to come into the library and learn Judaism. He wasn't doing that. It wasn't outreach. It was more so an open door policy. It was an open door. Anyone who actually wants to learn and has the desire to learn is welcome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fascinating.
So
it's interesting. No, it's very interesting because like in Reb Noah Weinberg's time, it sounds like he could be studying next to, a Christian who just walked in the doors, or even a Muslim person who wanted to understand the origins of the monotheistic religions, right? Anybody really with that mindset, but that's not really what Yeshiva is today, or at least specifically Aish Torah.
Right. I mean, yeah, I would say that's true, especially due to safety concerns and like the threats that we've had as Jews, like hearing stories about Jews being attacked in Los Angeles and, the European countries, like Jews being tracked down to their hotels. Like I've seen those viral videos. It's some awful stuff, and what's going on in Israel right now, luckily the hostages are being freed, slowly, one by one, but safety is a big thing. Safety concerns is very important,
Of course.
so that's probably what added to, the open door policy not really being a thing today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a
But now
closed door
there's,
policy. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
you also talked about this being, a little bit of a bubble, and that terminology has a stigma to it as well. And I think that there's good things and bad things about being in a bubble per se. But I wanted to ask you, was it difficult to shut yourself out from the world for a full on year like that?
I thought it was very welcoming, especially the people at Aish, very friendly. I fit right in. I always felt like I had, family. Like even though I just met some of the guys, like felt like they were part of my family.
Wow.
So very welcoming. And I was able to travel, was able to, thank God I was able to fly to Miami for like a couple of weeks and see my family, just check in with them, let them know everything is good, let them know I was being brainwashed for the better, brainwash clean, so brainwashing is like cleaning the brain, not like dirtying up the brain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's like what I was. That's what one of the phrases, anyways. But yeah, I was able to travel. So if I ever really needed to see my family, I really felt like I needed to check on them, I was able to do that. So that
That's
was
cool.
cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you still were able to get in and around. It's not like you were a prisoner, right? But you were in a
I would
bubble.
I would FaceTime my friends, like
Yeah.
every other day or something like that.
Right. Right. What were some of the let's not go to the opposite of the question, like what actually happens in the yeshiva. So once you're there, right? What would you say are some of the most impactful moments that attributed to your journey?
Wow. The tishes were amazing.
For
I
those who
was
don't know, can
able
you
to
explain what a tish is?
Okay, tishes like Thursday night concert. There's lots of music like guitars, bongos, pianos, and everybody would sing some familiar songs, and we would dance and drink beers, drink liquor, and eat food, and you know, yeah, what's not to love about a tish? And it brings everyone together. You know what I mean? Beautiful thing. There was a really amazing surprise. So I had picked up this book called Praying with Fire too, and I read a chapter about praying at the wall. I read that if you pray at the wall, your prayer is guaranteed to be answered, right? The Western Wall. So I tested this out. I'm like, okay, like let's give it a shot. Okay. So I go to the wall literally that same day, same night, because I would go to the wall at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and I would see some of my friends there just chilling, hanging out, reading books there because it's a cool place to just chill. So I go to the wall, I pray, I say, oh, and then I read another page from Praying with Fire 2, which says prayers that you prayers that aren't for you are actually more powerful. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to not pray for myself. I'm going to pray for someone else, and I'm going to pray at the wall. So it should be more powerful, and it's guaranteed to be answered since it's at the wall and guaranteed to be answered. Of course I prayed for $1 million, but I was told like the next day, like through like a conversation with my friend, he's like, some people would just spend $1 million on like fancy, like on like supercars and like jet skis and like in like a condo in Miami Beach if they were to get like $1 million. And I was like, whoa, dude, like you like read my mind or something. And I was like, because I prayed at the wall, like, but anyways, I made another prayer at the wall for my family to become more righteous. And then the next day I'm playing basketball, right? I'm playing basketball and my dad calls me from WhatsApp. He goes, hey, you have a package at Aish. It's waiting for you. And I was like, okay. well, I'm playing basketball. No problem. I'll have my friend pick up the package for me. So I hang up the phone and then I call up my friend who's at Aish. I'm like, hey, can you get a package for me at the front door? And then my dad calls me back. He's like, no, you have to be there to sign to get the package. So I call up. So I'm like, okay, no problem. I hang up on my dad. I call my friend and I say, yo, you have to pretend like your name's Daniel Mouyal. You have to sign for a package at Aish. The guy's going to be there right now. That's what my dad said. So I get another call from my dad. He's like, no, you have to be at Aish. You can't risk the package not being picked up because it might get sent back to like Jerusalem post office. So I'm like, crap. So 20 minutes later, I run from the basketball court to Aish and I see my dad and my sister there at the front door of Aish in Jerusalem. They're from Miami. So I'm like, what the fuck? You're here like out of nowhere. Like I made a prayer yesterday at the wall that for my family to become more righteous, and then they just showed up. So that was really cool.
Wow.
That was a very special moment. And my dad got to experience some of my yeshiva experience with me. So I took him to a tish. We went to like some underground tishes, you know what I mean? Like some special tishes that are like more private, and some are like in the King David tomb area. That was really cool. There was like 200 happy people like jumping around, like eating food, singing songs. And I was very involved. My dad got videos of me too. And like, we're like taking kippas off our heads, like switching kippas and stuff. It was funny. It was funny. It was a good time. There's a band playing there too. And going back to praying with fire too. I have another crazy story. So I'm walking to my room to take a nap one day. I'm tired. It's the middle of the day. It's like 2:00. I've been up since like 6 a.m. And I'm like, dude, like, I'm going to go to my room and take a nap. I'm walking to my room in the Moshav, whatever. And one of my friends, he stops me and says, yo, you'll never believe who's here. He's like, Mayweather is on the roof of Aish. I'm like, yo, don't lie to me. I'm walking to my room to take a nap, okay? Like, just let me be. And then I'm walking. I just like, I literally, I'm like, I'll talk to you later, dude. So I keep walking to the Moshav. I'm like, anything to stop me from taking a nap, right? So I'm walking to the Moshav. Another guy runs out the door and he goes, yo, Mayweather's here. He's at Aish. We got to go right now. I'm like, dude, is everybody in on this prank? Is everybody in on this? And he's like, he's actually here right now. Come with me. So I walk with him. We go up the stairs. We go to the roof. And then I look around. I don't see Mayweather. I'm like, great. You got me. Congrats. You know, there goes 10 minutes of my nap.
Now you're just tired and grumpy. Yeah.
So he goes, no. He goes, no. He's actually here. He's actually here. Let's look. Let's look down. So we're looking over the balcony, looking over the balcony. And then I see like it looks like a great wall of big men surrounding this one guy in like an all light blue outfit. And I'm like, okay, fine. I actually see him. I'm like, wow, wow, it's Mayweather walking downstairs. Okay, let's go downstairs. So we run downstairs, and then as soon as we're downstairs, we see like a crowd of people surrounding Mayweather, surrounding the security guards. And then I run up to the side. I'm like running to the side, and I'm like, oh snap! And I'm like taking my phone. I'm like, look, it's Mayweather. And yeah, that was cool. That was a very, very nice random surprise to see Mayweather at the Western Wall. And I actually talked to one of the security guards. I walked up to the security guard. I'm like, Mayweather, does he have a fight here or something? Like, what is he on? What's he up to? He's like, oh no, he's on vacation. We're just here. We just came from Dubai. And I'm like, okay, that's what's up. I found out they were kicked out of Dubai for some reason. And that's cool. So I told him what I learned in praying with fire too. I said, so what I just read from a book that I just read is that when you pray at the wall, it's guaranteed to be answered. It doesn't mean you're guaranteed to get what you asked for, but you're guaranteed to get an actual answer as to whether you'll receive it or not. You know what I mean?
You taught Mayweather about the guarantee of prayer at the wall?
I told his security guard who happened to be protecting Mayweather. So a few months later, right? So I didn't track them down and like find out like where they're going and whatnot. I just had a little conversation with them. So a few months later, I'm flying from Miami to Los Angeles just to work on some music and meet up with a few people, few friends. And on the flight, I see the same security guard who was at the wall. So I was so surprised. I was like, wow, what are the odds? You know, is everything, I was like, oh, everything's connected, obviously.
Right.
So I went up to him. I'm like, hey, remember me? And he goes, yeah, you was the one that told me to pray at the wall. And I was like, yeah, that's me. And he goes, man, you never believe what happened. I prayed for a truck and I got the truck. And I was like, no way. He's like, yeah, $120,000 truck that I've been wanting for a year. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. He's like, yeah. He's like, yo, I owe you. He's like, I owe you. I get you tickets to Mayweather's fight in Vegas. I'm like, all right. So he took my number and yeah, that was a cool, full circle moment. Yeah.
That's awesome, Daniel. It's a great story. It's an awesome story. Daniel, I'm curious about this. What's something that you wish more people knew about Yeshiva?
It's for your good. Like, it's like, imagine you have access to like a VIP, like imagine you have access to VIP and you didn't even know that you had access until someone's like, hey, you could go to Yeshiva, right? So it's like taking advantage of this VIP access that you didn't know you had. Because for me personally, I can only speak for myself. I'm into like becoming better. I'm interested in like raising the quality of my life, like raising the standards of my life, so I want to be successful. So if I can go somewhere that the people around me want to be successful, that's where I will go, so it's like having VIP access to self-development.
I think that's a great way to put it. VIP access to self-development. Yeah, it seems like in order to enter Yeshiva, you have to be open to the growth mindset that is there. Is there ever times where
Oh yeah.
you were intimidated or you felt like there were just certain lessons that felt too steep to approach? Did you ever feel like there were personal biases or controversies that were really hard pills to swallow?
Nope. You have to want it. You have to want it. Just like, yeah, I feel like in success, you have to actually want it. You have to desire it. You have to crave it. Otherwise you won't gain from it. Even if you pretend to want it, or like, they say fake it till you make it. If you pretend to want it, after a bit of time of being in an environment where everybody around you actually wants it, then it can actually be a positive influence.
Well, I think that there's some definitely interesting ideas for us to ruminate on and process and whatnot. But, Daniel, I want to thank you for being on the podcast. What is the best way for people to connect with you, to follow you? What is the best way for people to engage with you?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on this podcast. What a great podcast. The best way for people to connect with me is on Instagram, I have an Instagram. It's real Daniel Mouyal. On YouTube, Daniel Mouyal. That's Mouyal. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube Music, Daniel Mouyal. Yep.
Awesome. Everyone, that information will be displayed in the show notes of this episode. Daniel, thank you again for being on the podcast. And to the listeners, remember, there is no such thing as being a bad Jew. If you want to support this show and keep it alive in its existence, the best way to support us is by going onto our website, badjew.co, where you can buy merch. Again, my favorite item is the Mazel Tov tea. I talk about it all the time. You can also, by the way, get a coffee mug that says he brewed coffee on it. It's a great coffee mug. We have all kinds of puns ready available, but it's the best time to show your Judaism. It's the best time to say it loud and proud. Again, support this show. Also, please give us a review on Apple Podcasts. Everyone, we'll see you next Wednesday on this episode of Bad Jew.
Shalom.